the Westboro Baptist Church. Humiliated by talk show hosts and YouTubers, and pretty much hated by everybody, including the KKK. Firstly, how far is too far? Should they be allowed total and utter freedom of speech even if it negatively impacts others? And secondly, why? Let me try and explain. What's up, cool kids? Welcome to YouTube Explained. My name is Vinny, and on this week's episode we're going to try and explain the abomination that is the Westboro Baptist Church and how it resembles an authoritarian regime. Yeah, these two may not look alike, but they have a lot in common. How did they start? How are these people being brainwashed? Can't they see what's going on? And why is this a thing? First, a quick bio. The Westboro Baptist Church are an unaffiliated Baptist church that are known for their hate speeches. They hate homosexuals, people of the Jewish faith, soldiers, politicians, entertainers, Barack Obama. Pretty much everybody that isn't them, it seems. They also hate the media, which is very ironic given the fact that they manipulate it so well, appearing on all the talk shows, documentaries, news stories, YouTube channels, you name it. Hell, just this week they got rickrolled by the Foo Fighters. Also, can we just take a minute to marvel at how awesome Dave Grohl is? Okay, sorry, I had to be done. Moving on. To give you an idea of the sort of people that joined the Westboro Baptist Church, here is a clip from a documentary by Vice.
I told those fags, because they were asking me mockingly, how do I go to heaven, Steve? Take a piece of barbed wire and lop your junk off.
Doesn't it just fill you with joy? By the way, I really recommend you go watch that documentary, links down below. The church was founded back in 1955 by our beloved Mr. Fred Phelps, who is a disbarred lawyer who back in the 60s participated in many civil rights cases defending the civil rights of African American students. Sorry Fred, but just because you save puppies does not change the fact that you drown kittens. The church first gained notoriety by protesting the funeral of Matthew Shepard, a boy who was killed in 1998 for being gay. Now let's just think about this. Somebody's life was cut short because of their fucking sexual preference. That in itself is absolutely disgustable, but more so than that, there were humans that existed, that still exist today, that supported this heinous act and that protested at the funeral. Imagine how Matthew's family must have felt when the members of that sick cult held up signs saying God hates fags, disturbing what is one of the most private moments that a family can have. Ever since then, the Westboro Baptist Church has made quite a name for itself, protesting at countless funerals of soldiers who died defending their country, as well as concerts and even the US Holocaust Memorial Museum. Our good friend Fred Phelps died on March 19th of 2014 and reportedly didn't have a funeral because the Westboro Baptist Church does not worship the dead. So you mean it wasn't because you were afraid of having a taste of your own medicine and having thousands of people show up to his funeral to celebrate the extinction of this horrid man's life? Right. The Westboro Baptist Church, absolute pieces of shit, right? Yes. But also no. Just give me a minute to explain myself, okay? The Westboro Baptist Church, when you think about it, is a lot like a dictatorship, just on a smaller level. Like a dictatorship, they brainwash their children from birth. Like a dictatorship, they act as one and flush out abstract thought and individuality. And like a dictatorship, they try to spread their message any way they can, even producing propaganda. Terrible, terrible propaganda. And it all started with one fucked up dude. Ring any bells? So when you think of the Westboro Baptist Church in that way, can you really blame the children that are forced to be a part of this, or the adults for that matter? I don't see much of a difference between growing up in the Phelps family and growing up in Nazi Germany, or communist Russia, or North Korea today. As soon as they're born, they're told what to think. They're cut off from the world and they're told to hate it. They're told that the world hates them, and that if anybody tries to become their friend, then they're lying to them. These young children, from the ages of 5 years old, are sent out to the streets to protest, holding up signs that they don't understand. And as a result, people assault them, people spit on them. Everybody except their family. So, you know, it really doesn't surprise me that they grow up to believe what they believe. Imagine being put through this environment. This is all you've ever known. You gotta have a bit of sympathy. And mostly everybody a part of the Westboro Baptist Church is from the Phelps family. They have to brainwash somebody from birth in order to recruit new members. And those who aren't a part of the Phelps family and who were converted as fully fledged adults, well, you're just fucking stupid and you're trying to justify the fact that you're homophobic and anti-Semitic. Now, you know, don't get me wrong. If you want to believe in something, believe in something. I'm totally against the Westboro Baptist Church, and in being against them, I don't want to seem like I'm crushing somebody else's beliefs. No way, no. Believe what you want to believe. We're going to get into this later. But when you start believing in things and acting on things that hurt other people, that's where you have to draw the line. We'll come back to that. I feel great remorse for the children that are having their entire lives fucked up because of their family. These children are going to face abuse from the entire world for what they believe in, or what they were told to believe in. In this aspect, they're not quite comparable to the orphans that are starving in North Korea, but they are in similar circumstances on a lesser scale. And some people have come to their senses and left the church. You know, that's always going to happen. You can't fully suppress a group of people, but most of these children will be put through hell because of the family they were born into. Now, to tackle an entirely different issue, freedom of speech. Now, I know you Yanks, okay, and I say that in a loving way. I love you. I'm going to America very soon. I know you are dead set in your, freedom of speech ways, and that you should be allowed to say whatever you want, and it's your God-given right. But let's look at this from a logical standpoint for a second. What is society? What are laws? Why do we have laws? Aren't we supposed to be free to do whatever we want? Isn't that what freedom is? Not quite. If man were completely free to do whatever he wished, then it would be complete anarchy. But what's wrong with that? That's what real freedom is supposed to be. No, it isn't. You have, in fact, less freedom without the laws put in place that restrict your freedom, which sounds crazy, but just think about it for a second. If we were to be free of all the laws in this new world, only the strongest would thrive. Only the strongest would have complete freedom. Most of us would have to go out and scavenge for food, which would be very dangerous, and as soon as we saw somebody else who's bigger and tougher than us, we'd either run away or try to fight him and get killed. That is not freedom. You are not free to do what you want. By, yes, limiting certain freedoms and putting universally acknowledged laws into place, we are in fact assuring freedom for everyone on a basic level. At least that's the goal anyway. We do this with many freedoms. You can't really act any way you want to. You can't kill or rape. So why don't we do this with freedom of speech? Or more to the point, why doesn't America do this with freedom of speech? Oops, okay, I'm sorry. The United States, sorry for everybody in America. I understand you get angry. Don't kidnap me. Sorry. Oh God. John Stuart Mill, a British philosopher of the 19th century, has a lot to say on that topic. Even opinions lose their immunity when the circumstances in which they are expressed are such as to constitute their expression, a positive instigation to some mischievous act. He then goes on to talk about corn dealers and private property. The point is, should liberty have a limit? Should we limit our freedom? After picketing the funeral of Marine Matthew Snyder in 2006, the Snyder family decided to sue the WBC for invasion of privacy and defamation. At first, it seemed like the family would receive up to $10.9 million in damages, but subsequent appearances in court eventually led to the decision being overturned, ruling that the WBC's picketing fell under constitutionally protected free speech, and the court required Snyder's family to pay the WBC's court fees of $16,000. The Supreme Court ruled in their favor and stated that they were entitled to special protection under the First Amendment. When people like this are allowed to get away with something like that, it just really makes me think that this system is totally flawed and that this shouldn't happen. And this is not the only time I've read a headline from the US and been like, really? You know who doesn't put up with this shit? Canada. In August 2008, 22-year-old Tim McLean was on a Greyhound bus and was murdered. When the WBC announced plans to picket his funeral, the Canadians said no, fuck that, and did not allow them entry. You go, Canada! Just like how our freedom to act is limited when it comes to murdering people, for example, I think that our freedom of speech should be limited in extreme cases such as these. In France, it is illegal to question the existence of crimes that fall into the category of crimes against humanity. In other words, it is illegal to say that the Holocaust never happened. Whereas I don't like being told I can't say something. I think we can all agree on this one. I mean, I lived in France for 10 years and I have no problem with it. I think we can all agree that Hitler was a massive dick. I think that in order to assure a basic level of freedom and justice for all, liberty requires limitations, even if it means freedom of speech. But deciding where these limitations lie and what exactly they should be, well, that's the hard part. My name is Vinny, and thank you so much for watching. Hey, thank you so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. If you did like it, then go ahead and, well, leave it a like. And if you want to suggest more videos for upcoming episodes of YouTube Explained, then go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. Or you can go to the YouTube Explained subreddit. That's where people go to talk about the show and suggest videos. That's your thing. And also there are links to my Twitter and all that, all the social media stuff in the description down below. And also for super fans, I have a Patreon page where you can support me on there. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be next Wednesday, I hope, because I make them every Wednesday, unless future Vinny fucked up.